I hope everyone has been enjoying the event so far. I know we've had a lot of individuals dialed in from all around the world since first thing this morning. It's been a fun event with a lot of education, a lot of learning, and hopefully a lot of takeaways for everybody. Everyone's ticket has been enabled for replays. So if you want to double back and re-listen to any of the speakers throughout the course of the day, you have replays enabled. As I mentioned earlier in the event, at any point, if you want to reach out to any of the speakers that you've heard throughout the course of the event or on this panel, there's a big orange button at the top of the site that will get you connected. And I want to begin by getting everyone introduced. We have Tom Aronica. He's the founder and CEO of Biller Genie. So welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me.
And next we have Ankit Pathak. He's the executive over at POP and Consultadd. So Ankit, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, and we have quite a few questions that came in during each of the presentations. So I want to start right at the top. We had a bunch of questions. We'll try to get through as many as we can. Tom, first question came in for you, and it's from Tyler, who's in Boise, Idaho. And Tyler was asking, for a founder worried about the SaaS apocalypse that you spoke about, what's the very first question you'd have them ask to identify a moat that an AI agent can't recreate quickly?
Great question, Tyler. We spent a whole bunch of time around like defining moats. I think it's with the pace of how all this is moving, how fast everything's going. It's even kind of updated week by week as we go through it. The one thing that I think I keep settling on is data, right? And first party data versus third party data. What we found with our own tool and talking to our peers and colleagues is that the one thing that the foundational models don't have access to is our data, our first party data that we're creating, we're manufacturing, we're storing, we're holding, and that we're using on our system to create more intelligence, to drive better outcomes. And I think that's even different than like lended third party data. We're in accounting software integration tools. So we integrate tools like QuickBooks and things like that. So we pull an invoice in from QuickBooks, and we pull data in from a customer, and we used to think that was the first party data. Right now, that's data sitting in our system, but really it's just borrowed data from someone else. It's data that any of these foundational models can have access to. What makes us unique is how we interpret that data, how we can see the usage, and when we're sending an invoice and someone's opening it, and the time when they do it, and the location, geography, and all of the data that the models don't have access to. And I think that's what's going to really separate the winners from the losers over time as we start to look and define moats. We've done a lot of work around distribution, and we've done a lot of work around payments as an infrastructure, but how we leverage and use data and manufacture new data and use that borrowed third-party data to create new first-party data that we can build new insights and actions and outcomes upon. I think that's really where anybody that's looking to leverage AI stands a chance to really win.
Yeah, and I think I would agree. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if every organization has the same tech and tools and coding and all of that, it's really the data and the intellectual property that are the differentiators or the moat. So the next question came in for Ankit, and I thought this was a great question, and it actually came in a few times. So I'll pick one. This is from Hannah in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And what Hannah is asking is, when a CEO tells you we want AI, how do you steer them toward your question of what work are we trying to eliminate without losing their excitement?
Sure. Very great question, Michael, I must say. And I'll tell you, I never try to reduce their excitement. I redirect it. Okay. So when a CEO says we want an I will tell them that's great, but AI is the vehicle, not the destination. And then I ask a simple question: what work do you never want your team to do again? And that changes the conversation, Michael, from buying a technology to solving a business problem. Once we identify the repetitive work, whether it's a customer support, recruiting, sales follow-ups, or operation, we design AI around that outcomes. And companies don't invest in AI because it's exciting. They invest because I believe it saves time and it helps you to reduce your cost and let's focus on higher value work. Okay. And for me, I would say the best AI strategy doesn't start with AI. It start with friction, and remove the friction and the AI becomes the obvious. So that's something I would say about this question.
Makes a lot of sense. And Tom, the next question came in from for you from Jenna, who's just outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Jenna is asking, when you run every feature idea through the "does this protect our moat" filter, how often does that actually kill projects you were emotionally attached to?
Jenna, great question about emotional attachment. I mean, I think that there's a visceral emotional response that's coming out of all this, right? And like even with that last question, there's a way to solve problems and use it and leverage it and grow and do more faster, and then there's the fear around it's gonna steal our moat, take our job, expose my data, start trading stocks for me without me knowing about it, right? So I think that the product shifts way left. Like we've been using it to help us architect the product before it even goes over to an engineering team. So I think less emotion around the product development and fear of loss, more excitement around being able to build a bigger product that has, more resiliency, and using the tools to help interview the product manager, architect, owner, whatever you want to call it. I think that's where time shifts. The code production is cheap these days, where the time shifts, where the energy shifts, where the thought, where the engineer of the future really adds value is on the product definition. And I think being able to use AI to help define through a great level of detail is a tremendous amount of power, because you could just build more, bigger, faster. I don't see the models ripping that off. I think that there's the moat, again, going back to what the models don't have access to. You use the model to help drive the product faster, earlier, way left.
Fantastic. Ankit, the next question came in for you, and it was from Carlos, who's in Waukesha, Wisconsin, right here in the US. And Carlos is asking, for a company drowning in follow-ups and duplicate data entry, what's the first job function you'd consider turning into an AI employee instead of just adding another tool?
Makes sense. And Carlos, very amazing question. So I I wouldn't automate a department first. I would automate a bottleneck. That's something I'll start with, Carlos. And for most of the companies, Carlos, that's actually the sales coordinator or a customer success coordinator role, right? Now you'll ask why? Because they spend hours every day doing a follow-up, updating CRM, scheduling meetings, and chasing the information. And those are repetitive work. They are rule-based tasks that AI handles extremely well, right? And the result isn't about fewer people. It's giving you your best people time to build a relationship, solve problems, and close businesses, right? And I always tell CEOs, founder who meet me every day, don't replace people first. Replace repetitive work first. And the first AI employee shouldn't replace your best employee. It should eliminate your team's most boring Monday morning. So always people say that AI will replace human. When I started this company, people always ask me, right? And even Tom, you got the same question sometimes, that AI will replace human or not, right? It will not replace human. It will dare to argument with human, and that's something we have to understand.
I would agree with you. I think it's really a tool to augment and complement, but not replace. Tom, the next question came in for you from Marcus, who's in looks like just outside of Des Moines, Iowa. And Marcus is asking, for a young SaaS with no partner network yet, what practical steps can they take this year to start building a distribution mode instead of just shipping more features?
So my business partner was really good at this. When we first started early on, it was build, and then we're going to sell. The market's going to dictate what it needs. And so it took me a really long time to sort of understand product market fit, minimum viable product, what the market was looking for. I learned early on by making mistakes. I made all the mistakes early on. Over engineering features that before we had a product team to even understand if the market was actually looking for it. So finding the partners that you can help augment their strategy and create value for the partners and create value for their customers. That's where we've had a lot of success. So it's not just trying to gain shelf space. It's not just trying to be another product in the toolkit. We're really trying to help add value into and augment their own product strategy. So for us, we found success in franchising. We found success in payments. We found that we've been able to help them achieve their own goals and do so faster. So that's how we kind of take an approach to identifying what channels we want to go and distribution channels we want to go after. But from a build perspective, the market told us what they needed. And it wasn't always what we expected. It wasn't always what we thought. So getting things into their hands faster, and now continuing to accelerate that, especially with AI, we're shipping smaller products faster, getting into their hands, letting them tell us what they need versus us trying to anticipate, guess, assume, build something that they don't really need, and they're going to tell us what they need anyway. Now I just lost 3 months. So we found a lot of success on around identifying how we can help augment their own strategies, but then shipping really small features and then listening and really interviewing our partners on how we can help support their strategy, not trying to ship a feature that we think we need, really trying to ship a feature that they need that they can't build themselves. That's where we found a lot of success.
And I love how you frame that, because for every SaaS founder early on, it all starts with a vision of what you envision the market needs, and then getting that solution to market and getting customer feedback and iterating is really where the magic happens. So that's great. Ankit, the next question came in for you, and it's from still here in the US, from Clear, who's in Fort Collins, Colorado. And Clear's question is, in your presentation, you draw a line between chatbots and true AI employees. What concrete behaviors tell you an agent is ready to own a job versus just assist a human?
Makes sense. So if I have to differentiate here, a chatbot answers the question, right? But an AI employee owns the next step. Imagine you're asking something to ChatGPT, and instead of ChatGPT replying you, it will do the task for you. That's something it differentiate between a chatbot and the AI employees. And for me, the first sign is execution. It should not just respond; it should take actions. Okay. Now, the major differentiate is also context. So it remembers the workflow, the customer history, the rules, and the business goal. And third is decision making with boundaries. It knows what it can do, what it should accelerate, and when it human needs to step in. And then definitely accountability is really really important. So you can measure its output like a real role. Okay, response time, task completion, accuracy, uh, conversation, customer satisfaction, and most importantly, I would say it should improve the workflow, not just add another chat window, right? And when I talk to my clients, right, they always come that, hey, we have this problem, and we want to use AI or build this chat box. I always ask them, the first thing I try to understand the problem, what are they trying to solve. And then once you are ready to understand their problem, you are in their shoes, you basically start with feeding those data into that AI agent, and then slowly build that AI agent based on customers' need and their pain point. So if your AI only talks, it's basically a chatbot, and if it's take a responsibility for outcomes, it's an AI employee.
Makes a lot of sense, and I think that's a great clarification. Tom, next question comes to us. I want to make sure we grab a few questions from some of the international attendees. This comes to us from Liam, who is just outside of Dunedin, New Zealand. And Liam is asking, for SaaS teams still stuck in long PRDs and handoffs, what's a low-risk pilot you suggest to prove the value of your converged, no over-the-fence model that you spoke about?
Well, I can tell you what we did. It was a really, honestly, fun exercise, but strong proof of concept. So, I think there's a level of excitement and a level of fear for everybody. I mean, I'm as equally excited about AI as I am scared of AI. I think everybody has that kind of equal level of fear and excitement. So, as we're trying to motivate and share the excitement with the teams, it's really easy to change a jet ski on a 180-degree axis. It's really tough to change a cruise ship, right? And turn a cruise ship around. So as we were driving our AI strategy and our AI transformation, we kind of like paused for a second and said, let's actually solve problems, like Ankit said, right? To me, AI is all about solving problems. So we went out and we did a 24-hour sort of like hackathon where we said, what's one of the biggest problems that we've been facing, something that our partners have been telling us about, or our subscribers have been asking us for, the thing that we haven't been able to do, that's always been on the backlog and we've never been able to get to, we haven't been able to prioritize. And we grabbed that and we pulled everybody and we said, I want you to build this in a language that you've never written in before. And I want you to use a code base that you've never touched ever in your life. And I want you to spend the next 24 hours, let's see who can build the coolest thing. And let's use that as a proof of concept to be able to show that, hey, this is possible. And it was a super fun exercise. I think it really went a long way to help everybody realize what's possible and how we can shift the interaction with the models. Again, I keep saying it's so far left where, the challenge was to write it in a language you've never seen or used before. So it's not the code anymore. It's the coordination of that PRD. And now we've taken it where we've built, agent harnesses, and we've built our own skills to help produce the PRDs that inform the testing and the release and enablement strategy. So that was a really fun exercise that we did to really start to gain some traction around hey, the look of what SDLC is changing. Let's see if we can challenge that, and we can challenge ourselves and prove out what's possible. And that was I think a really fun exercise that our team really loved.
Neat. This next question comes in for Ankit, and it's from Daniela, who is in Toulouse, France. And Daniela is asking, in your experience across industries, which business function, recruiting, customer support, or ops, tends to show the fastest, clearest ROI from a first AI employee?
Very, very amazing question. So, if I had to pick one, I would say customer support, because every improvement is immediately visible to both the customer and the business. Okay. And when I started, and the first agent I remember I built was a chatbot and a voice agent for one of my customer to support their customer support, and that's something where it start. So customer support usually delivers the fastest ROI because it's high volume, repetitive, and operates 24 into 7. An AI employee can instantly answers your FAQs, route your tickets, resolve common issues, and escalate only the complex cases. And that means faster response time, lower support cost, um, and happier customer, right? It all measurable within the weeks. And after the customer support, I would look at recruiting and operation, because they also involve a lot of repetitive conditions, and that's something where I can see a lot of ROI coming in. But first, customer support, I would pick. And the best first AI employee is the one your customer notice, but your employee don't miss. Okay. Don't start where AI is like coolest. Start where it's waiting in the most expensive.
Makes a lot of sense, and I love that analogy. As we're wrapping up, Tom, this next question is one that came in from a few individuals, so I want to make sure we get to it. I'm going to pick one from, let's see here, from Larita in Savannah, Georgia, or it looks like she is just outside of Savannah. How do you coach product teams that are proud of UI and features to focus instead on outcomes and stickiness that deepen your moat over time? And I think this is something everyone on the event, is wondering.
Yeah, I don't know if those are mutually exclusive. I don't think that AI takes away the UI, UX, the experience, but it certainly does help inform what that feature looks like. So I think that the challenge for product, for technology, for engineering, for support, for the ELT is to shift our focus and passion, right? Like I've heard a lot from a lot of my engineers that like their passion 2 weeks ago, in hyperbole, right? So 6 months ago, is we found joy in writing the code, writing the lines, writing the words, writing the finding the bug, and that's what we've been taught. That's what we went to school for, and that's where we've been told our whole careers is career progression and how do we move forward. And I don't think anyone in the leadership role knows what the future looks like yet. I don't think that we're at a stage yet where we know what the engineering teams of the future look like, where we know what the full progression path is. I think that anybody that is saying we can anticipate what a career progression looks like is probably going to change their thought on that in a few weeks and continue to migrate that. So I think that we have a duty to really find passion in the work that produces what you originally had passion. So if you're passionate about, the UI UX, use the AI to build better UI UX and, work with it to do that faster. So, same thing. If you found passion in writing the single lines of code, find passion in, writing and managing a team of 15 agents writing single lines of code, right? And do more faster. So, I think that's a challenge for all of us is in embracing, the excitement around it and finding passion in what we, or shifting how we find passion in what we used to really, focus our attention on.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's a positive note to end things on. For everyone that's joined us today, coming up next month is our August event, which is our AI Governance, Risk, and Compliance Summit. This has actually been one of the most anticipated events throughout the course of the year, and we have quite a few individuals already. Actually, we've had more speakers for this event that were interested in participating. So we've actually expanded the event into an August and September event. The September is featuring fintech governance, risk, and compliance. And the August event is the overall governance, risk, and compliance summit to introduce the conversation. So if you're not already registered, jump on to softwareoasis.com. You can register there. And for everyone that's been with us for the whole day, we very much appreciate your attention and support. And hopefully you had the opportunity to take quite a bit away from this event. Tom, Ankit, thank you very much for the fantastic presentations earlier in the day and for joining this Q&A panel. And with that, I will let everybody end the day. So be well.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.